Okay, hey, this is Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. I think it was better with it off. All right, I need to re-accomplish this video, one that I made this morning. There was some technical difficulties with it. And what I hope to accomplish here is bring you the latest details of the Hidden Creek Farm incident that is going on right now. Okay, a little background on this. I got a call last Tuesday from a young woman. She identified herself as Crystal, and she said that her farm was being persecuted by the township and a neighbor. And then she was no longer able to talk to me. She was kind of overcome with emotion, and so she said that she would call back later that day, which she did. That evening, Tuesday evening, her and her husband came up to my house and sat down and told me the whole story. And I brought it to you Thursday night after I had gone down and I'd seen their farm. And I had talked with these two people. Their name is Crystal and Lee. And they run an 18-acre farm down in Muskegon. It's in the Dalton Township. All right. So here's the deal. This is not good. 18-acre farm. It's modeled somewhat like mine. They do beef, pork, chicken, cut flowers, and they patronize a lot of people in their community. So a lot of people come, well, let's see, they service patrons in their community. So there's quite a few people in their community that come to their farm and get their chicken, get their goat milk, get their beef, a lot of the cut flowers, like I said, and produce and crafts, things like that. And what happened last Thursday was, I think, over the top. They were served, the neighbor who didn't like what they're doing. Their farm's been going for 5 years. All of a sudden decided he didn't like what they were doing, and got a lawyer and sued them for $75,000, and then went to the township, and the township zoning ordinance person. Here's her contact, so you can check the story out with her. I guess it's Lorraine Grabinski. This top phone number is her office, and this is her fax if you want to send anything to her. And that is at the Dalton Township down in Muskegon, Michigan. The Dalton Township this woman hired an attorney that also sued these young people, Hidden Creek Farm, and sought an injunction to shut down their plant sale, Mother's Day plant sale last Saturday, and they did get that done. And they seek to shut their farm down and just shut down their farming operation. Now, this is what they do to make a living. The good news is we're a representative republic governed by a constitution, and the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution says that our lives, liberty, and property are protected under due process of law. And the law that governs this would be the Right to Farm Act. And in a township like this, there's a group of people that always get together and they say, oh, this is where the industry is going to be, and this is where the residents going to be. And they call that zoning. And those are ordinances. But they are not the same as laws. We are a land of laws, and Fifth Amendment clearly points that out. So this probably is not going to happen. Their operation will not be shut down. Their neighbor will not get them to move. He will not receive the $75,000. And Lorraine Grabinski will not be victorious in her pursuit of them either. But the problem that I have with this, first of all, before we get into my problems, let me make some things perfectly clear here. What we need to do is we all need to do something that brings us together as a group. We know that small farms are under attack every day, and this is just another example of it. But there's two organizations that I'd like you to join up with. One is the Michigan Small Farms Council. It originates right here in Michigan, and it doesn't cost you anything to join up. Just Google it and then add your name to the list, and then you'll start getting their circulars via email so you can keep up to speed with stuff like this. Because if you know that this is going on, if the masses of people know that this is going on, you can shine the light on Lorraine and her ilk, and they will be a little bit more like the servants that they're supposed to, and they won't, overstep their bounds. They have a lane to stay in, and that's where they need to be. The other is Farm to Consumer Legal Defense Fund. They're a national organization, and I've worked with them. I got some good friends over there. And people need, if you want good, wholesome food and you want farms to stay around, it would really make a lot of sense to join up with them. And then when something like this happens, you've already paid forward, so then they can provide you with the help that you'd need. The way this worked out was Crystal and Lee Thursday were presented with this paperwork. They got 3 stacks of paper saying that they were being sued by the county, they were being sued by their neighbor, and they were being sued for an injunction. And they had never seen anything like this before. They were told they had 24 hours to get a lawyer by the attorneys from the neighbor and the township. And if they had nobody to go to, they probably would have just knuckled under and they'd be looking for a new place to live right now. And I think that's a tragedy because when I went down there Thursday, I saw a very uptight operation. And by the way, you can go to Hidden Creek Farm. I encourage you to do this. Hidden Creek Farm on Facebook. And there is a video tour right now that I believe Crystal did. And that's what you see when you pull in. 18 acres is plenty of space. It doesn't stink. Everything is neat. Everything is really, I was really impressed and I was motivated after seeing it. So I would encourage you to go and check that out and maybe join their Facebook page and give them a few words of support here and there. So the sale was shut down Saturday, Mother's Day sale, Township. Lorraine Grabinski was victorious in her shutting down of the Mother's Day plant sale. Good on you there, Lorraine. You're a real hero. You're a real American citizen. And but some other community members stepped forward and said, "Hey, you can do it over at our place." Now this is ridiculous. This is private property. The Fifth Amendment is clear. Your life, liberty, property, which is your process, is protected under due process of law. There was no law here. It was just some lawyers, somebody from the township, and a judge that said you can't do it because we friggin' say so. Well, I have a problem with that, and let's take this to the next level. I am authorizing everyone to distribute this video as you see fit. What we have really here is we have somebody from the township, for some reason, who knows why, and a neighbor, and then you got millions of other people on the side that probably think this is a pile of manure, all right? And I'm going to encourage you to call down there to the township and inquire about this. Be courteous, but let's hear their side of the story. Maybe I've got this wrong. I don't think I do. Before I came and made this video, I tried to make pretty darn sure that I knew what I was talking about. So Small Farms Conference and Farm to Consumer Legal Defense Fund is at hand, and all hands are on deck, I can tell you that. But the problem I have here is Lorraine Grabinski and people like her, they are public servants, okay? They like to be known as public officials or township officials. But you work for us, we'll call you what we like. You're a servant. You work for us. You're there to do our business while we're off working and making money, so we can give some of it to you and you can, distribute it properly. But one thing about public servants, and I learned this from a retired general acquaintance, they all take an oath of office. And what that means is before they can start their duties in the township office, they have to swear an oath to protect and defend, protect and support the Constitution of the United States. And they all have to do it. And not only do they have to raise their hand, put their hand on a Bible, and swear that, they have to sign it too. That is a term of employment. So here's how this whole thing went down. The neighbor, Ken, we'll call him, he's a wealthy guy, grumpy, maybe. All of a sudden doesn't like what they're doing. They've been doing it for 5 years. He's helped them out. He's rototilled for them and things like that. But all of a sudden he doesn't like what they're doing. So he levels this lawsuit, sues them for $75,000. Then he goes to the township. The township should have said, well, Ken, I'd like to help you, but you see, I can't, because I've sworn an oath to protect and defend the constitutional rights of all the people in this township. And Crystal and Lee are two of the people in the township that are equal to you under the law. But Lorraine didn't do that. Before she checked the the Right to Farm Act or the U.S. Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land, she went right to and hired an attorney with township funds. And oh, by the way, when we looked around for an attorney before Farm to Consumer, we weren't sure if they were going to come on board at first. When we looked around, it was $500 to retain somebody, and they weren't even interested in being retained on such short notice. So Lorraine spent some money here to get this done, and it's not going to happen. Right to Farm is very clear. It's a law, and it supersedes any zoning ordinances that the township may have come up with. So it's not going to happen. But the problem that I have is that this happens too much, way too much. And we as farmers seem to be on the end of this way too much. But I think things are changing a little bit. And I think we have a very good network now. And these townships, counties, and state, when they do cross the line into our territory of constitutional freedom, we will respond, and we'll respond very quickly as we have this time. And now is the time for us to, in effect, pile on. All right, it's our turn to pile on, and hopefully get this back where it was. You know, there was a time in our country where just about everybody had something going on their property in order to feed their family, because it wasn't always that everything that you procured was at the supermarket. You know, even me growing up, my parents had a really big garden. My mother canned all kinds of stuff. We didn't have any animals, but that just wasn't, my father wasn't into that, you know. But we had a neighbor that did. And I think people nowadays are saying, you know, I think I want to do this. And it seems like township, county, and state officials are being pushed to kind of make it difficult on people. But what they don't understand is it is our constitutional right to farm, and that's what we will do. So what I would like is for people to kind of look into this a little bit, get the feel of what's going on here. This is kind of a textbook case. We have the necessary people in place to deal with this. I think that Lorraine has violated her terms of employment with the township, and I would like to make that known to people of Dalton Township that you've made a bad hire here, because the next time this could be you. If you have a neighbor that doesn't like what you do, let's say you like to buff your car on a Sunday, oh, that doesn't hurt anybody. Well, I've been to this farm, and it's not hurting anybody either. Anybody that would go there would say, the township should be buying them a steak dinner, not persecuting them like this. And they tried to rush it so fast, and make these kids so scared that they would just capitulate. And I hate bullies. I really hate bullies. I've dealt with enough of them, and I don't like it. But I think it's time to turn this around a little bit. And not a little bit, a lot. But when these people take these jobs that we offer as public servants, I think it's about time they started acting like servants and not like our masters. There was absolutely no effort on the part of the township to settle this at a low level. You know, explain to both parties, well, you live next door to each other. It was boom, right to the lawyers. And you may be asking, why do people at a township level do that? Well, you know, I see it here where I live. They do their thing at the township level, then they try to get up to the county level, and then from there they try to go on and work for the state. You know, it's a certain class of people that likes to be in charge, but doesn't really want to do the thing. You know, excuse me. And so it's a social climbing thing. Now, these young people probably had not much to offer to the township as far as social connections or anything like that. That's all I can figure. But I will say this, that the neighbor Ken and these two people are American citizens. And there's a lot of us that defend a document that they are all equal underneath. They are all equal under that document. That's the U.S. Constitution. All right, so this is for all my farm brothers and sisters, and this is for all my military and retired military brothers and sisters as well. If we do not have that document and it is not defended, we cannot expect it to provide us with the blanket of freedom that we all live under. So I am pulling the trigger on this. And I would like people to get involved in this as much as you can. And I would like to set a precedence here that this is not going to happen anymore in these great states of America. Okay, this is Mark from Baker's Green Acres. And I'd like to remind you that anyone can farm. Please share this around as much as you can. And please get involved. This is us.